Hi, everybody. It is good to be back. This week, I'm going to be talking about one of the main reasons that we have energy crashes during the day and how energy crashes and blood sugar are very closely connected. So, as I mentioned last week, my goal with these weekly postings is just to provide you with tips on energy. And the reason energy is just so important is because when we're feeling vibrant and full of energy, it changes our lives. We are more present in our relationships. We're more productive and motivated. We're more likely to make good choices about our health, whether that's getting movement in, getting a good night's sleep, eating the foods that make us feel the best. And, it also helps us just be better parents, just be better people. Who doesn't want to feel just full of energy? I mean, I don't think that's a weird goal for anybody. So, one of the things I wanted to talk about today was how much our choices that we make with food intake influence our energy. And that's probably not going to be a surprise, but there might be a little bit of science behind it that you're not as aware of. One of the things that we talk a lot about in health coaching is what's called the blood sugar roller coaster. So, one of the things that is really important to understand is that there are certain foods and products that contain lots of sugar, and usually those products don't contain a lot of healthy fiber, fat, or protein. My favorite are chips. That's my weakness. However, somebody else might like donuts or croissants, or just, some of those kind of refined type carbohydrates. And so when we are eating foods that don't have fat and protein, like a croissant, for example, we find that our body converts that croissant to a sugar very quickly. When we eat, say, a croissant with a couple of eggs that's full of fat and protein, it actually slows down that sugar in the croissant. It slows down that sugar absorption. So when those nutrients aren't present, our blood sugar shoots up really fast, like the top of the roller coaster. When we're at the top, we're flying high, we're feeling great. We're like, wow, I'm full of energy. And what's interesting is when your body's at the top of that roller coaster, your brain is alerted. Your brain actually thinks this is an emergency because your brain only uses about 50% of the blood sugar that you have at any given time. So when it goes well above that, your brain thinks it's an emergency. So what does your body do? Your pancreas, this beautiful little organ on the left side of your body, kind of by your spleen, secretes a hormone, insulin, which you've probably heard of. And the job of the insulin is to bring that blood sugar back down because it's way higher than it needs to be. And so when insulin's sent out, it doesn't just bring your blood sugar back down into balance. There's often too much insulin secreted, and so our blood sugar dips way down. And that's that crash that you feel after that high, that shaky, spaced out, uncomfortable feeling. And so now you're in the middle of this crash, right? Now, what does your body do? When you're down there in the middle of that nasty crash, it craves more sugar or more foods that turn to sugar quickly, or some coffee or an energy drink or a Coke, a soda, because your body is trying to get back into balance again. You were way high and now you're way too low. And so up and down the cycle continues. And this is one of the reasons that we start eating sugar or simple carbs and we just can't stop. We're literally craving them constantly. And the reason that we're craving them is simply because your body is actually trying to find a balance. And so that sugar and the simple carb is the body's way of getting something specific and getting it quickly to bring it back into balance. And it's the easiest, most convenient food to restore that sugar balance when your blood sugar's in the toilet. However, if we keep eating sugar and simple carbs, we're going to stay on this crazy craving roller coaster. And that roller coaster not only affects our energy, and we see these highs and lows, but it affects our mood. It causes weight gain, obviously, because we are eating foods that aren't the best for us. And, there's something else to really consider here these days. Like many health conscious people, maybe many people like yourselves, probably know a little bit about blood sugar and how sugar isn't really the best for us. But we don't often realize the emotional roller coaster ride that accompanies this. We feel happy and we feel energetic, and then suddenly, unexplainably, we find ourselves arguing with our, partner, or yelling at our kids for no reason, or beating ourselves up in our mind and talking really nasty to ourselves. And our moods are just kind of all over the place. I'm sure many of you have experienced that, right? That's a bummer too. So, really being cognizant of what we're eating is really important. And so, just this awareness of how our body operates when our body is processing food, it's super important to, if we are going to go for that simple carb, that we couple it with a healthy fat or a healthy protein, because then really what's happening, and this is kind of a preview of what I'm going to talk about next week, is that it takes longer for our bodies to digest proteins and fats. There is a much more complex molecular structure that takes more time, so we see a very slow and steady absorption of the nutrients, which then is a slow and steady absorption of that sugar that's coming from, obviously, sugar, but refined carb that turns to sugar quickly. So it's really important to kind of create that balance. And when we don't, then we feel that crash, and then we tend to go for things that are going to pick us back up, which is the simple carb, the sugar, or the coffee and the soda and the energy drinks. And then we just go up and down on this crazy coaster. So that's one thing that robs us of our energy and actually gives us this almost like false superficial energy high that is just brought right back down as soon as that sugar is processed. So what I'm going to be kind of working towards over the next couple of weeks is providing you with concrete things that you can ingest that will help balance your energy, keeping in mind, this whole blood sugar concept. And then I definitely am going to be adding in other factors down the road related to mindset and stress that also definitely deplete us of energy. So if you have any specific questions that have come up for you, I would love for you to make a comment under the video. If you're finding that you're liking this, please hit like, subscribe if you'd like as well. So again, I get a sense of what things are exciting for you all and that you're learning from, and maybe what's things not so much. But yes, definitely reach out if you have any specific questions, and I will see you all next week.